On this month's episode of FlipScreen Games Podcast, we're talking about PlayStation's June State of Play, Xbox Games Showcase, and Summer Game Fest 2025. What's up, Internet? You're tuned into this month's episode of the FlipScreen Games Podcast, a monthly video game podcast where two best buds from different nations come together to discuss the wide world of video games. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Stephen Radford.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's good to talk about video games for a change, you know?
Is that what we do on the show?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I think
okay.
so.
All right, let's talk about them then. So we're going to do this one a little different than we've done our last couple SGF coverages because we kind of want to just focus in on the greatest hits for us, right? So we picked PlayStation, SGF proper, and the Xbox Showcase. Those are the three that we watched in totality, and we grabbed all of our highlights from those three shows, and we'll go through kind of the games that piqued our interest the most, and then, you know, any of the like super major announcements we'll touch on here or there. But this is mostly just us dialing in on the stuff that we were most excited to catch over the last, we'll say, 72 hours and change.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's still more going on. Like, I watched some of Day of the Devs. I know there was the Future Games show.
I watched a little of that one too.
So like, there's a lot of other stuff that we've not covered here.
There's just too many of them these days.
There's just so much. I think Wholesome are doing one as well again. So it's like there's so much, and I'd imagine Nintendo's is probably coming at the end of this month, because no doubt we're going to see more about Donkey Kong.
Yeah, they usually do some kind of June direct, right? So I mean, either maybe Donkey Kong will get another deep dive, or maybe we'll get a look at some of the other games to look forward to that we are not aware of yet. You know?
Yeah.
You got to imagine they have a couple surprises for us before the end of the year.
I'd imagine so. It's a bit of a dry lineup at the moment. There's going to be something coming. I was surprised we didn't get more Switch stuff in some of the other events, specifically Xbox. There wasn't really any mention of it.
Plenty mention of PlayStation.
Yeah, but I thought for sure we were going to see some of the Switch 2 logos around the place, but I didn't spot one. I don't think.
Me neither. Yeah, I don't think so. But speaking of PlayStation, we'll start there. I think what we were thinking was we'd hit them in release order, right? So we'll do PlayStation, then we'll do Summer Game Fest, then we'll do the Xbox Showcase. So, I mean, we don't have to bury the lead on this one. I'm sure you want to start with 007 First Light. Obviously, that's
my God, yeah.
A game you've been really looking forward to from one of your favorite developers, IO Interactive, the team behind Hitman. What'd you think of this first look?
Absolutely phenomenal. It looks really good. It's pretty much everything I could have hoped for. It looks like it's a true kind of new Bond story.
It's cool that it's an origin.
Sorry, what was that?
It's cool that it's an origin story.
Yeah, it's a total origin story, which is nice, but it's not the Casino Royale origin story that we know. It's something fresh, it's something new. I like the books. He's got like a scar on his cheek, which is a really cool kind of throwback that you never really see in the movies. It was nice to get a glimpse of like Q and Moneypenny. And there was a little bit of the gameplay peppered in there as well. It looks a lot like Hitman, which is exactly what I wanted. It's a 007 immersive sim. I couldn't have asked for anything more. And it really felt like Bond. It felt like the Bond universe. And I hope this is kind of like queuing things up for maybe another trilogy like they did with the Hitman trilogy. I could so see them do the Bond origin story and then move on to him going on some missions and having like basically a movie that you play in the same way that Indiana Jones last year was a movie that you played.
That was exactly how I felt watching this. Was like, oh, this feels very much like the Indiana Jones stuff that we saw in pre-release. And yeah, I mean, if it hits the same notes as those games, or as that game, I should say, great.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm hopeful that we get some kind of release date at some point, but I'm imagining this is 2026 at the very earliest at this rate. Like, it's only just got a name. I think when they first spoke about it, it was really just an advertisement to hire people and get talent in the studio. You know, do you want to come and work on a new Bond game, the first like proper Bond game that has not been attached to a movie in many, many years? So, yeah, I think this one's a ways out still.
Yeah, right now it says it's set to be released in 2026, but obviously,
Easily could slip.
yeah,
Easily.
until you see a date on it, and even then, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But I think it looks really good. I think this is like exactly what we were hoping for when we heard about this project. And yeah, I'm with you where, any immersive sim is something that I'm interested in. But I also just think it's cool that IO being, in my opinion anyway, one of the more interesting AAA developers out there, because they are independent and they, have like been able to strike out on their own and have a really, really successful IP in Hitman, and like have that trilogy turned into World of Assassination. And I just think that they're a really, really talented team, and they make a really unique kind of game that a lot of people just don't have the ability to make or make on their level. And it's super cool to see them get matched up with an IP that will hopefully bring a little bit more recognition to the team. And then, the next original thing that they're working on, whether that's, the next phase of Hitman or a new IP or something like that, they'll hopefully, their star power will have been raised a little bit. Yeah, it seems like a match made in heaven, man. Can't wait to play this one.
Yeah, I hope so. And it's nice to see them still using their Glacier game engine. They mentioned that in the actual trailer, that it was using their engine, because pretty much everyone else has moved over to Unreal at this point, and it's good to still have in-house proprietary engines. And so we're not all kind of putting our eggs in the Unreal Engine basket.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I can't wait to see this one come together. I really hope it is ready for next year, but I mean, take the time that you need, right?
What was your top pick from PlayStation? Was it like one of the Final Fantasies?
I would say I'm taking a look at the list to try. I didn't have a number one in mind, really. I guess honestly, my number one was probably the next game I was going to bring up, which is Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, which is it's the new Marvel 2D fighter. It's a 4v4. It's made by Arc System Works, who is the team behind Guilty Gear. But more recently, everybody probably remembers they made that like extremely stylish 2D Dragon Ball Z fighting game, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh, was that them?
Yeah. So they're like, one of the realest of the real when it comes to fighters. And I was a big Marvel vs. Capcom guy back in the day, and I always had a real love for 2 and 3 in that series. So this feels kind of like a spiritual successor to that, but from one of the most accomplished, fighting game studios in the world. And the fact that PlayStation and Marvel Games and Arc System are all partnering to make what is like a very, very up my alley type experience, especially the fact that like Arc System is getting like pretty full creative control to make their own iteration of the Marvel universe, and have it be influenced by their style. I think is really, really cool. Like Iron Man has like a semi Gundam design to his suit and stuff like that, and it's just really cool that like even as somebody that's very familiar with Marvel and everything, it's like it's still gonna have kind of that fresh coat of paint on it. So yeah, this is something I'm definitely gonna try to get good at.
Yeah, there was a lot of comic book stuff that I was like, oh, this is another Pete game. This is another Pete game. There was one in SGF. There was one in the Xbox event, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure Pete fucks with this game.
All kinds of good stuff. Yeah. Lots for me to look forward to.
How gutted were you when you saw Thief was a VR game?
It did look really cool. And I was like, oh no, bummer.
Also, the fact that they've actually remembered that they've got a VR headset and they probably should release games like this and Lumines. I was like, what?
Yeah, really? I don't know. I don't know that we need to. Maybe we just move on from that, right? I will say though, Luminous Arise is another one that really stood out to me. Like obviously, we both like puzzle games a lot. I've never really played Luminous, but
did you not? I'm sure I had that on the PSP.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of it's like that and Patapon are both like everybody's like, oh, they're so great. And I just never really got around to them, and they're both getting cool remasters or remakes. And this being made by the team that does Tetris Effect, it's like, okay, Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I'm
going to
in.
be great in VR. It
Yeah,
really will. But
I mean, it'll be great not in VR.
it'll probably be one of those games that I don't know. Just you pick it up on a Quest. It's not like you need a PlayStation and a PSVR 2 in order to
Yeah,
appreciate something like
I'm
that.
just
Like
saying.
it,
I never played Tetris Effect in VR. I just played it on my TV with the
you
lights
know what?
off, and
In on a good TV with HDR with a good sound system, that game absolutely slaps.
yeah,
So I'm sure Luminous will be the same.
super excited about that. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So some of the other ones that stood out to me, you mentioned Final Fantasy. They're doing the Final Fantasy Tactics remake remaster. It's like hard to because it's one of those like it's a remake, I guess, right? More than a remaster. They're adding a ton of new like they're adding fully voice acted dialogue and they're making some updates.
It's a remaster in the same way that Oblivion was a remaster. You
Sure,
know that the logic and everything behind the scenes is the same,
right.
and Oblivion did the same shit with the re-recording of lines and all of that stuff. But I still consider that like a remake at that point.
Right, because we both were like, is this really a remaster, though? Like, it feels like there's so much under the hood here that, like, has improved and that you put so much work into updating things. But either way, right? So I'm really excited about this one. I really love Final Fantasy Tactics. And I think it's really, really cool that they're doing, like, the kind of it's like a combo release where it's like you can either play the new version with all of the updated content and bells and whistles or everything, or you can play the original version,
Yeah, it's
which
like the
is really
Dragon
cool.
Quest thing that they did, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can switch between the two, which was cool.
Yeah, I think that's just like a really nice like way to kind of like have your cake and eat it too. You know, like you can make this like you know more updated, streamlined, more modern version or whatever, right? That like there's some new difficulty levels. They upped up the battle speed so you can get through combat more quickly. There's like some new like updates to the visuals and the UI and stuff like that, which are like great. Like those are all cool.
It's like the quality of life improvements they brought to Mario RPG when they did the re-release of that, and
Yeah,
it's like it's not game changing, but it makes it a lot more playable for people with modern sensibilities, I think.
right. And then or you can play like like if you want to play it in its original style or you're
If you want to
nostalgic for that
torture
original
yourself,
style, yeah, you can still play that and it has like auto save and some of the other like quality of life features that I think nobody's upset about having,
Nah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Can you imagine like your PlayStation crashing back in the day and you've put all that work in,
Mm-hmm.
your little memory block on your memory card didn't quite save.
It's happened to me more than once. See, I'm excited about that one. I think that's a really cool approach to the remake remaster kind of vibe, and I have a lot of love for that original title. So I'm super excited to play some more of that. Speaking of which, one of the other ones on my list was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I have never been a Metal Gear guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised that you're really big into this one.
I want to consider it. Like I've never been a Metal Gear guy, and I think in the same way that like RE2 remake was like a really good inroad for people for that game, I think this has the potential.
Have you finished RE2 remake?
No, I don't. I don't. Resident Evil's not for me.
Oh man, it's so good.
I just
Honestly, so
I just
good.
can't. I can't. It is great. I enjoyed what I played of it, but it's like I just don't.
You were also playing that in 2020,
Yeah.
and that probably was not the year to do
It
it.
was not the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like every time I think about going back to it, I'm like, I'm good. Like horror games are just not really my bag.
You know what? That's good. It's good that you know what isn't for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same with most turn-based games. I'm like, this ain't for me.
Oh, that's the good stuff. Injected into my veins. Speaking of that, one of the ones that I was really excited about too was Digimon Story Time Stranger. These like Digimon RPGs have like never quite grabbed me. I tried a couple of them.
Is it Sierra in our group that loves these?
She really likes these, and I don't think Chewy's played all of them, but he's played a couple of them, and he likes them a lot too. This one really caught my attention because it looks like Persona, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, no, but then Xbox happened, and it's like, Do you care as much now?
Oh yeah, I mean I still do. Yeah, definitely. Because that's the thing, Steve. You can never have too many good, high quality turn based games with a social sim. You know?
You know what? Yes, but also hundreds of hours of your life. You've really only got time for one, maybe two a year at most.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll see. This is one that's like fully. If it comes out and the buzz about it is even like remotely good, then I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm down to kick the tires on that one. But we'll see. We'll see. Then they had a couple other updates that I think were like interesting ones that are worth touching on quickly, even though they weren't like necessarily like the hypest announcements for me. Tides of Tomorrow I thought looked really good. That's the new game from the Road 96 team, which I don't know if you remember that one. That was like the that indie game where like you're on the road trip and there's like all the different unique interactions that can trigger.
Yeah, my favorite band made an original song for that game, so it has, as much as I didn't really jive with it, that has a special place in my heart because I love the Midnight and I love that song.
So I thought this looked really interesting. You know, like I think their approach to like unique non-linear narrative is something that like definitely appeals to me, and the fact that it's like it's a multiplayer game where the choices that you make impact other people's experience in the story is a novel, interesting idea. It's like it's one of those ones where it's like who knows if it'll come together, but I think the idea is very unique.
I could see it. It's like those you know what are they called? Dark Picture anthology games.
Sure.
That I always play with my dad, and something he did as his character would end up getting my character killed. So I can understand things have knock-on repercussions and stuff. I've still never forgiven him for that, me dying in that ship on that game.
So then we also got to look at a new everybody's golf hot shots, which looks fun. I love a golf game. It's
really
when they're good. Golf
arcadey golf games, but
No, I'm not playing like Tiger Woods PGA, but like and
that
everybody's
was a banger on the DS though. Like honestly, you had to get that stylus and you flicked it. That was great. That was brilliant.
This is one. It's like I think again, if the buzz is good, if I'm in the mood for it, I could see myself kicking the tires on this. There was like the updates to Astrobot that look a lot of fun and made me really sad that my PlayStation is still broken and I can't play it. But I really do want to. And then of course we got the tease of the Ghost of Yotoi State of Play coming in July. I'm super excited about that one, but not really much else to say today. And then one that I don't know is for me, but I think is like a cool announcement is the Romeo is a Dead Man. It's like the new Suda 51 title. Him partnering with PlayStation for that's pretty interesting, and
it's a good coup for them. I mean, he was over at Nintendo for the last one.
Yeah, and it looks super unique and very much like his brand of like over the top zaniness. So that's another one where it's like I've never really jumped into any of his stuff, so like I'm down to keep an eye on it, and if it catches my attention again, then maybe I'd like to give it a shot, but we'll see.
What did you make of Project Defiant, the fight stick that they announced? And why do they do this with the projects and then in a month we know we're going to get a name on it? Like with the PS Portal, they did that.
Yeah. What was that one called?
I can't remember, but it had a project name for about 2 months, and then they're like, we're calling it PlayStation Portal. It's like, can you have gone to marketing first and just been like, we're going to call it the PlayStation Fight Stick?
Yeah, right. It's like that's probably what they'll call it, right? Like I don't know. Yeah, I mean it fine. I guess I'm not like super. I'm not super passionate about fight sticks, so it's like I don't know that I'm like the right person to comment on it. Like I think if somebody out there in the fighting game community might be able to look at that and be like, this is exciting for this reason, or it's not worth considering for this other reason. But to me, it just looks like another fight stick, which I'm not too bothered by.
So I didn't know if you were big into them with the, going into that Marvel fighting game. It might be like a good combo.
Yeah, I don't think I've played enough on arcade to get like super comfortable with that layout, and it just feels like it's like I'm not going to learn a new way to play and buy an
Yeah, it's
expensive
interesting,
controller.
isn't it? Like, is this the standard now, or do most people, like, if they're playing in a like a professional setting, are they just using a normal controller?
I
Like,
think
I'd
it,
love to know.
I
I'd
think
love
it
to know.
depends on the person. I mean, like
Yeah.
I know I have one serious fighting game fan in my life who's like a diehard stick guy.
Pete's got to go and wrestle his cat from the bookshelf.
Just give me a second.
He's really misbehaving today. Poor Lucas.
He's driving me crazy. He's being such a scudge today. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I think aside from that, there wasn't really anything else for me on the PlayStation side that stuck out. I thought it was a really good showcase, though. I think this is the best showing they've had in a couple years, at least. I thought it was
I
paced
think
really well.
the fact that you called it a showcase, I think is testament to the fact that this maybe was a bit more than a state of play.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it was just a state of play again. Like, I think they probably could have pulled the showcase moniker out for this one. Weird that we've not seen that used again since. I mean, it's like, what, 4 years at this point?
Yeah. I think this was decidedly the best one they've had since then.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Not a crazy amount of first party, though. I was expecting to maybe see a bit of Wolverine here or something that Insomniac was working on. I was surprised by that. But, can't hand off everything. The last time we saw Naughty Dog's new game, so I guess, this time around, I was, not expecting a crazy amount.
It's tough, right? Because it's like, yeah, we already know what Naughty Dog's working on, and like we have, like Ghost, but they are going to do a dedicated one for that. Wolverine, I guess they're just not ready to talk about yet, right? It's like, I think with some of them, it's like you don't want to overshow, right? Like, and we don't want to like have seen a game 2, 3, 4, 5 times before we actually know anything about it, which is how we used to do things. And I think, that obviously, I think there's a fun to that because it is fun to be like getting big things at these events to look forward to. Like, I loved getting a look at Naughty Dog's next time.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah.
I think it looks sick, right? And I can't wait to play it. And I get not wanting to have every showcase be that, because I remember feeling that way about like Death Stranding, for example, whereas like by the time it finally came out, it's like I've seen like 2 hours of footage about this game, and you can't force me to care about it.
Like, what was the other one? Days Gone. And it was like, I felt like they'd completely missold that game and like showed it in a totally different light, and no one really knew what it was. So like it is a balancing game. You know who was decidedly missing though? Bungie. I guess they're too busy making some new artwork for
they're too busy
the game that they stole.
Using AI to steal people's art off DeviantArt for their backgrounds.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, worst several $1 billion I think anyone's ever spent. But that's a conversation for another episode, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to jump into Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I think let's talk about this event up front, because I know you and I both kind of were cool on it. Like, I walked away with more games I was interested in than you did, but I think ultimately, like, this to me was like, I really, really felt like this show didn't do a good job of respecting my time with how long it was versus how much they actually had to show. And no disrespect to the games there, but like the caliber of announcement where it would be like,
well, when you consider it's the Hitman Elusive Target here versus 007 First Light at PlayStation, it's the same studio, but the caliber of announcement is just totally different. One's a new mission to do, and one's a whole new game that we're finally getting a look at. You know, they are totally different. It's like they just weren't in the same real conversation in my mind, at least most of the games.
And
anyway.
I mean, pretty much every game that I walked away excited about was an indie title, and that's not a bad thing. Like, I'm excited to see cool new indies at these events. I don't mean to denigrate any of the games there, but I think it's like when you because I watched it time shifted, right? So to open up the stream and see that it was 3.5 hours, right? But that like right next to that, there was a supercut from GameSpot, right? Or somebody who was like, here's every trailer cut together. And that was like 40 minutes. It's like, dude, that's so long for not a ton of meat on the bone, right? Like, and it's not like the Game Awards where it's like that's supposed to be like it's a celebration of the year of gaming and you
You
want
don't
to.
mind having a bit of music there, and then someone coming up and
Yeah.
accepting an award, and then maybe some movie stars coming out to talk about their film.
Yeah, I expect like pomp and circumstance, right? Whereas like both PlayStation and Xbox's showcases were like barely any talking, right? PlayStation was no talking. It was just trailer, 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 trailer. Xbox, when they did slow down to talk about things, they revealed something every time, right? It was like Sarabon showed off the handheld. Phil teased a Halo remaster, right? And talked about.
Phil looks incredible, by the way. Like, serious glow up this year for Phil.
You think so? I thought he looked.
Yeah.
I thought he looked really tired.
He looked great. I thought he looked great.
All right, good. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, "Oh man, my man looks tired." That Activision Blizzard deal took years off his life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and then Matt Booty was there, and he said that everything's coming to Game Pass. That wasn't going to change.
Well, and he explained
that, right?
Yeah, like he doubled down on the Play Anywhere thing, right? Like Sarah started talking about that, and then he talked more about it and what that actually means and how it's going to work, and yeah. Whereas like I think with SGF, it was just like there was just so much.
It's just a big difference between it's a live show. There's a lot of moving components. Everyone's coming on stage. He doesn't know how long Kojima's going to talk. We've got to have the translator. There's a back and forth.
Yeah.
Versus this is cut down. It's edited. It's neat. It's tidy. We can just go through it. And I feel like most people now care more for the trailers and what we're going to see. And,
I think at least at Summer Game Fest, like that's what it is, right? Like that's what you sold it as. So like any amount of time that we spend kind of doing anything else feels a little, slow, especially when it's like there might be 3, 4, or 5 trailers in a row that I'm just not that excited about, So yeah, I think this to me really like I felt the fat on the bone on this one, and like again, I've got like 10 games on this list I'm super excited to talk about, but like for 3.5 hours, it's like, man, that is quite the investment. And I wasn't upset to have watched it time shifted so I could skip around a little bit because I just hit a point where I'm like, man, I've been watching for 45 minutes and I've seen like one game that I'm interested in. I think particularly in comparison to the PlayStation and Xbox shows where it was never more than a trailer or two before I was kind of engaged again.
Yeah, no, yeah, Xbox did a great job, I think, with that. And it was like they did a good job of not putting too many similar games together.
And that I think Jeff had that problem.
Yeah, 100%. There was like somewhere it's just like back to back, and it's like, oh right, okay, another horror-y looking kind of game,
gray horror shooter. Okay.
Whereas really, the only gray horror shooter I was here for was Resident Evil 9 Requiem, which I was surprised to see. But that was a big announcement. I feel like that.
I think that was the biggest one, right?
Yeah, by far the biggest one. You said it wasn't really much off mic. That it was, just a cinematic that reveals the game. But I think that's enough. It sets the story. It sets the tone. It brings in some of the elements from Village and 7, and kind of we know where things are going. And it's a continuation of that story, which I think people were looking for, rather than a shift again.
I think it was one of those trailers that like very much just leaned on the strength of the intellectual property, right? Like if you're a Resident Evil person, like you really don't need more than like a few frames in a title, and you're like, great, it's out next year, cool. Like, can't wait. It's like they've been on such a tear too. It's like 7 and 8 were both so well received that it's kind of like, all right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, not to mention the remakes as well. It's like 4 remake. Wow, people loved that. I'd imagine this is going to go down. Or sell gangbusters, just like the rest of them did. But I was surprised to see a release date. It was nice to see February 26th next year. Looking forward to that.
Pretty soon. All right, so I got a bunch of small games for this one, for sure. Like, of the bigger games, Chronicles Medieval I thought looked pretty interesting. That was the one where it was just like a voiceover, kind of thing, but it looks like it's like teasing like these kind of like big, like large scale medieval like historical battles, which seems interesting to me. It's like I kind of can't tell if it's supposed to be like
This is one of those ones where I just didn't know what the gameplay was like. This could be anything.
yeah, it's like is it an RTS?
It could be like an Age of Empires,
Yeah,
or
right.
it could be that I'm on the ground and I'm actually riding the horse and it's a real-time battle.
That's what it looks like to me because of the end. Like it's like the guy.
Yeah, but that could just be
on the
zoomed
horse.
in on just looking at the kind of artillery.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's hard to say, right? Like it's an idea that I think is interesting to me, but we saw so little of it that it's like okay, maybe on this one. One that we've seen a couple times though that I was like excited to get a little bit more of and get more of a window is Mouse, PI for Hire. That's the like boomer shooter with the like 1930s like rubber hose animation, like old school Disney or like Fleischer, like it's like that kind of vibe to it. Like Cuphead, if you're not familiar with Golden Age animation. I love that style of animation. I like am such a fan of like golden era cartoons. That this was one that like from the first time they showed it, I was interested in it, and every time that they show more of it, it seems like it's a little deeper than I thought it was. I wasn't expecting it to have like a more involved story. I wasn't expecting the main character to be voiced by Troy Baker. That
man's in everything. We should have known.
He works, man. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. I think this game looks really fun, and it's supposed to come out later this year. It's going to be on PC and then like current and last gen consoles. So yeah, I hope this one is as good as it looks.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, it does. It did look good, but it wasn't one that I was like, oh, I love this kind of genre of game. I've never really been a massive Doom guy.
I like Doom in that genre. I've never really played any of the other ones, but I Doom is a lot of fun. Yeah, it's not like a genre I think I'm inherently drawn to, but like when it's fun, it's fun. And I really liked Mullet Mad Jack last year, which was like a similar vibe, that with like mixed with like a roguelike, So yeah, I think this one will be up my alley. One of the other like funky indie games that I thought looked really interesting was Felt That, which was the boxing game like where you like where everybody's a puppet. And that's like it's just very strange, and it's one of those like interesting like mixed media kind of experiences where it's just like, how is this gonna play? Like what is the gameplay actually going to feel like? But again, it's like it's the aesthetic of it is really interesting to me. I really like puppets. I
imagine it's going to be like Punch Out, right? It looks like that where
Yeah.
you're like in front of them. It's going to be similar to that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's more like Punch Out than Arms, because Arms wasn't too successful. And
Yeah, but
Punch
it was
Out
fantastic. So if it's as good as Arms, then hey, that's all right. But yeah, I think that looks really cool. Like I really love like a odd experimental title like that, So that's one I'm definitely like I'm interested just because of like what it is and how bizarre it is, and the fact that it's like juxtaposing this like it's a silly thing, right? Because it's puppets, but then it's like the narrative is about him being an orphan who never was adopted, so he becomes a boxer to save the orphanage. It's like, yeah, that sounds like that is such Pete nonsense. It's like that's just a circle, right, of Venn diagrams of my interests. It's sad and whimsical.
It did look cool. It did look cool.
Another one that I wanted to shout out was, and this is a game we've seen several times, but every time we see it, I'm like more and more interested in it, which is Mafia: The Old Country.
Yeah.
I think it looks really
Were you
good.
into the Mafia games? I tried the remaster of Mafia, and I just couldn't jive with it.
I've never played them before. Like I feel like I've never really got into any, and this might just be my ignorance, but I kind of like have just never been super interested in the like GTA style games that are not GTA. You know, like there was like
LA
this.
Noire was great.
I didn't care for LA Noire. Unfortunately,
It's hilarious. It's one of the most fun. It's one of the funniest games I've ever played, and it's probably not meant to be. In the same way,
I love the
you know,
doubt face.
Yeah, the doubt face is great. What was that? What was that game where the guy just screamed Sean all the time? That one was funny as well.
Oh my God! It's the. Oh no, I know it.
The Quantic Dream game.
Yeah, but what is it? Oh my God! Heavy Rain? Is that it?
Heavy Rain. Yeah, Heavy Rain. Sean.
But I think Mafia Old Country looks really sick, and it's like I think that like I'm more interested in it because it's a period piece and it's set in Italy
and you're an Italian American.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
It's the old country, Steve. Yeah, I like it being set in like the early 1900s in Sicily is like inherently interesting, right? It's not I'm in an American city driving around feeling like I'm doing GTA stuff, right? Like it's and the story like seems to be very like rooted in family drama and maybe like a star-crossed lover situation, and I'm just like, oh, this just sounds really like a good crime drama, you know, and it not really, again, like you said, not a franchise I have any history with or like a genre that I'm like deeply invested in, but it's just kind of like, oh, that seems like a fun novel story and setting, you know, for a genre that when it hits for me, it does hit, you know, like I like a crime story. I like a, you know, a story about like a crime family if the mood strikes. So yeah, I think it's one of those ones where the elevator pitch for it I thought was interesting, and this is now the 4th or 5th time we've seen it, and while I was watching it I was like, this looks really cool. Like I could see myself really getting into this one.
Yeah, well, we finally got a release date, I think was the big thing this time.
Yeah.
August 8th.
Yeah. I gotta say, that was a thing that was cool about this like series of events was how many of these games are like imminent.
I think that's really been the feedback that they've taken on board, is that I feel like people are just sick of games that we have no release date for. I mean,
yeah,
we still don't know where Silksong is. Is it ever coming?
They said it was, again, right?
Along
Xbox
with the Xbox Ally, yeah, at some point,
which is later this year.
Tease. Yeah, yeah. I think it says holiday 2025 is when the Ally's out.
Oh, you know, I meant to mention this one earlier when we were talking about Mouse. Another one that they showed off was Into the Unwell. That's like another like classic cartoon influenced game. It's like a 3D platformer boss rush kind of game from the look of it. That one gameplay wise, I'm a little bit more mixed on, but again, just like the aesthetic of it, I think is really cool. I'm interested.
Did you watch any of the Day of the Devs straight after at all?
I don't. I think I saw trailers from Day of the Devs, but I didn't watch any of it.
Fair enough. They showed off more of House's new game, which is the team behind Untitled Goose Game, and that one's worth checking out. It seems very experimental, I will say. You play these weird little goober things. I don't really know what you describe them as, and you just walk around and you hang out with your friends and talk and go for a walk in the woods. It's very, very different to Untitled Goose Game.
I'm down. You know, they're one of those studios. It's like, hey, I'm down for whatever you want to try next.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got like, you know, free roam to do whatever they want after Goose Game.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I guess let's... Oh, you know what? I had one other game on the list that, like, is not an indie title, but it's similar where it's like I am theoretically interested in it, but we didn't really get enough of it, was the Game of Thrones War for Westeros. I like an RTS, and I think the whole, like, alternate history, like, you get to decide or whatever is, like, that's interesting, like, in a civilization kind of way. But, yeah, I don't know. Like... The idea sounds cool, but it's literally just an idea in a cinematic trailer. So, you know, who knows, right?
Yeah, and I think that like Resident Evil is one of those games that's very much hanging. The trailer is very much hanging its hat on the Game of Thrones IP. There, if it wasn't Game of Thrones, I don't think
you'd been like, okay,
you'd been like, oh, cool, it's a new
RTS.
something.
Yeah. Great. It's an RTS that we haven't seen any of the gameplay. All right. Yeah, totally with you there. All right, so into the indie stuff. These are like my three biggest things of the show. Were Mina the Hollower got a nice little sizzle trailer. Not a
and
ton.
a demo.
Yeah, demo's out now, which I haven't gotten to jump into yet, but that's on Steam. Not like a ton of. I mean, it was like a minute long, and it was like a lot of quick cuts, so you saw a lot of it. But it was, like a kind of a quick sizzle reel. But I mean, it's Yacht Club, right? Like this is the team. If you don't know, right, Mina the Hollower is the new game from the team behind Shovel Knight. They've been working on it for a couple of years now. I kickstarted it in like, I don't know, 2021 or something like that, I think maybe. I'm so excited to have a release date and for it to be, nearing a point where I can actually play it and not just have it be a thing that I'm like, every time they give me a Kickstarter update, just looking over the window, just like, is it ready yet? Can I play it yet?
It's gonna be a good Halloween for you, Pete. That's what I like to say. Good Halloween.
There's so many games out this fall. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, can't wait for that one. That's another one of those developers where it's like anything that they're gonna do, right? I'm ready, and I'm gonna be there day one, and it's October 31st. So, like you said, it'll be a happy Halloween, spooky season, baby. So then another one I wanted to shout out is Mixtape. This is an Annapurna published game. It's from the developer of The Artful Escape. And it is it's set in the, I think, late 80s, early 90s. I think it's the early 90s. And it's all about a couple of, kids that are into skateboarding and music. And there's a romantic subplot. It's Pete nonsense. This is so up my alley.
Oh, this was one that they showed at last year's Xbox showcase, I believe, and I loved it. So like the music very much is like the music of mine and my partner's relationship. So like it has a special place in my heart. We listen to Roxy music far too much and Smashing Pumpkins. So like I'm looking forward to this coming out. I think it'll be a fun one to play with him. I'm dubious with anything Annapurna now after what happened with them.
This game's been in development for so long, though, already.
Everyone quit.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, it's like that gives me pause about the publisher.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, there's a developer that already has a big game under their belt and seemingly was in development for a while. So hopefully it's fine, right? And like even if we don't get more good Annapurna games moving forward, hopefully this one will not be too affected by all the drama.
Yeah, which is crazy because like that was one of those publishers that could do no wrong. Like they had indie darling after indie darling. It was
Well, we all remember 12 minutes, seconds. What was it?
Sort of 12 minutes. It was because you got 12 minutes to play it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird ending. Okay, yeah.
Not a great game. Oh man. And then they also had Scott Pilgrim EX got shown off. This is a new, it's a sequel to the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up that came out on the Xbox 360 100 years ago. And then, of course, finally was made available again. It got the limited run push and everything. And the game was kind of like, back in the public consciousness again for the first time. And this is a sequel to that, and it's got a ton of the talent that was behind that original game is back. It's the original creator of Scott Pilgrim, Brian Lee O'Malley, is involved. And then Anamanaguchi, who's the band that did the music, the soundtrack for the first game, did the soundtrack for this one as well. They're one of my favorite bands. They're fucking fantastic. So yeah, this looks awesome. Like it looks like a deeper, more developed sequel to a game that I have a ton of nostalgia for and an IP that I really like. And again, I'm going to get a full new album of chiptune music from one of my favorite bands. So I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, no, this was the announcement at the not Game Awards, at the Summer Game Fest that I saw, that I was like, yeah, this one's for Pete because I know how much you love that original game.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm probably most excited about the new music. But yeah, so excited.
Did you know that band before the game, or did you discover them through the game?
Both kind of. So like I played the game before I was a fan of the band, and then I got into the band independently, and then found out shortly afterwards. Fuck,
so
they
fun
did
when
that
happened.
out. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
such a great soundtrack. So yeah, it's like full circle now.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So I know we kind of briefly touched on it too, but you want to talk a little bit about the World of Assassination update?
So it's another
Le Chiffre. How do you say his name?
Chiffron,
Chiffron.
something like that. Yeah, it's another elusive target, which is cool. And it's good that they're still bringing new content to that game. I wonder how much longer that's going to go on.
They're doing a co-op mode too, right?
It's been constant. Like, they're constantly adding new stuff all the time. It's really cool. Like, going back to the kind of roguelike mode that they added last year. Like, it's just it's insane how much they can keep adding new life into that game. And now that it's available on Switch, I really hope more people will pick it up as well. Because I
think it might be time. I think it might be time for me to finally play it.
Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be right at home on Switch. I love playing it handheld on Steam Deck. Like, if you've not got it on PC, I feel like it's gonna run great on Switch. And if you want something new to play on your shiny new console, it's probably the one to play.
Beautiful. So, I'm realizing that maybe this wasn't at SGF, and I thought it was, but I'm not seeing it on this list. But Marvel Cosmic Invasion, was that there?
No, I think that was Xbox, wasn't it?
Oh, that was Xbox? Okay. Well, I'll save that one then. I guess. We'll drag it down just in case, and we'll talk about it there. So yeah, I guess the last one I wanted to call out is, like, I have absolutely no idea whether or not this will be a good video game, but I feel like I have to give it the nod, which is Wu-Tang: Rise of the Deceiver. I love the Wu-Tang Clan. And, I think that this is one of those ideas where it's like, this will either be super goofy and like dopey, or it'll like weirdly come together and be really cool and fire. Cause it sounds like a weird idea unless you know anything about the Wu-Tang Clan. Right. So like, I feel like let's see, it kind of reminded me of like, South of Midnight, the little tiny clip that they actually showed of gameplay had that like limited animation, like beat 'em up kind of vibe to it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I think if the worst case scenario is this is a fun action game with like a weird like lore that's connected to the Wu-Tang Clan, and the entire thing is like
nothing about the Wu-Tang clan,
dude,
other than it was like a big thing in like the early 2000s.
Early 90s, but
was it the 90s?
I mean, they were still around in the 2000s, but Enter the 36 Chambers is their first album, and that was when they really broke onto the scene. That album is incredible. So I am fully prepared for this to be nothing, but if it's something, your boy's gonna be there. Hell, even if it's nothing, I'll probably play it.
It's like when Soulja Boy made a console.
No, it's not like that.
Okay, right. It's maybe a bit more than
disrespectful to even bring that loser up. All right, you ready to talk Xbox?
Yes, I am.
Let's talk Xbox. All right, hold on. I'm going to confirm whether or not this game was actually there or not. I don't see Marvel. Where did I see this?
Was it PlayStation?
Maybe no, because that was where the fighting game was. I swear to God, this was at
Maybe
SGF.
It was in the Summer Game Fest opening. It was in the opening showcase. So they did the bit before the showcase.
Okay, that was what it was.
Which with the bit before the showcase, I think a lot of people skipped over. It was games that basically had already been announced, and then
because this is one that like they've shown before. I think we've even talked about it at a different event. But this is another one of those, like, it's the 2D nostalgia, like, beat 'em ups, but a new one.
Yeah,
and
it's like the .emu stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a .emu published game. Yeah, and it's like I think the same crew that they just did the Power Rangers
Teenage
one.
Mutant
They did the
Ninja
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one before that. Yeah.
Are they doing the Simpsons one, or did I imagine that?
Is that real? That might be real.
I hope that's real because I love that game.
They should
I want
definitely
to be
do it.
Marge with the vacuum cleaner and smacking people around the face with it.
But yeah, they showed off 2 new characters for that. They added Rocket Raccoon and She-Hulk. I'm excited for that one. I'm a Marvel boy, so that'll be a fun one for me. That happened at one of those shows. I don't know, but Xbox.
It was SGF. It definitely was SGF.
All right, there we go. So let's get into Xbox. Did you have one you wanted to start off with here?
I want to talk about the Ally and just say that we're going to talk about that more on this week's episode of the Steam Deck podcast and do a bit of a deep dive into it there and what it means and the new stuff that they've announced. And because a lot of people have had hands-on, we've learned a lot more information about it since. But it was cool to see them finally acknowledge the handheld PC space and bring some stuff in there. So I definitely wanted to touch on that. One thing that I thought was absolutely fucking bizarre was seeing a Game Freak AAA game.
Yeah, are you kidding?
At the showcase. It was like, what?
You've been gaslighting me for years. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like, you can make a game that looks good? Like, what?
Yeah, what was that one called?
Animo.
Wait, are you sure?
No.
No. That's not it. That's the one where you can transform into the Pokemon.
Oh, that's the other Pokemon looking
It was the
thing.
one that looked like Power World.
Yes.
Yeah, what was this game called? I thought I wrote it down, but I don't
it
see
was
it.
really strange. Like, it looked beautiful, and then the frame rate was like 2 at places. And I was like, well, at least they're being honest.
Beast of Reincarnation.
Right, yes, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's supposed to come to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox next year. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so interesting because it's like, damn, this looks so above their pay grade.
Yeah, real departure from Pokemon.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if it comes out and it's good, it would be very funny to see, like, it's like, okay, so clearly this is the Pokemon Company's fault then? Right? Like, it's like you need to give them more than 2 seconds to make a game and maybe it'll be good.
Man, I mean, that'll be a real tell, I think, won't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
I mean, they did that other game on Switch. What was that one?
Little Town Hero.
Little Town Hero. That
Yeah.
didn't have any of the problems, you know?
No, but it wasn't.
Nothing to write home about. It's not this.
It was fun. It was a fun enough game, but it wasn't, it wasn't like you were like, wow, look what they're capable of,
No, I get that.
So we already touched on the Silk Song of it all, that they are doubling down, tripling down on the fact that it's coming out this year. We'll see. We did get the tease of a new Halo remaster when Phil Spencer was talking about, Gears of War getting the remaster, and he talked about Forza and Fable and, the return of a classic that's been with us since the beginning. It's like, okay, it's probably Halo, right? Seems that way.
Unless they're on about Project Gotham Racing, they could be resurrecting that. Sorry, Forza. We need another one.
That would be so crazy.
Geometry Wars. That'd be great.
Oh my God, I would love that. So let's get into some of the heavier hitters, I guess. Persona 4 Remake is real, and it's called Persona 4 Revival.
Yeah.
So obviously we just got the Persona 3 Reloaded, like what, last year, 2 years ago now, maybe. So this was one that, like, I think we knew it was coming. They talked about it a million times, or not, hadn't officially been talked about, but it's leaked a couple times, and there's been a lot of, rumbling behind the scenes that this was a thing and that it was on its way.
This is my favorite Persona as well. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Teddy again. It'd be great to hang out and go into the TV world.
Yeah,
Good game.
this is super cool. I'm excited to give it a shot. I know a lot of people think that 4 is the best one. So cool for folks to have another inroad for it,
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think it's a very different look at Japan as well. Like, it's not big city, it's small town. It's very different to Persona 5 in that regard. Like, it's a very different environment to navigate around. But it's cool story, and absolutely incredible music, as expected.
Yeah, Persona don't miss in that regard.
No, not at all.
There's a short one. Age of Mythology Retold is getting a new expansion, with I believe they said that it was all new content. Like they've never had, it's like a bunch of like the Japanese pantheon, which I don't think was ever DLC in the original. So it's cool to see them creating new content for Mythology Retold.
Yeah. You know my thoughts on that game. I think just play Age of Empires.
Age of Empires is not as fun.
No, I'm glad you enjoy it. It really makes me wonder why the fuck EA is not revived Black and White at this point. Like, do something with that as well.
It's so weird. Like, why don't we do a Black and White remake?
Yeah, there's so many of those like old games that they could do. You know, bring back Theme Hospital and Theme Park. Resurrect some of these old brands that you have. Command and Conquer. Like, come on, that would sell.
Yeah, you'd love to see it. So then, let's see, jumping around a little bit. Aphelion is the new Don't Nod game. I like Don't Nod. I'm interested in whatever they're doing, but I didn't really feel like we got it's like you're playing these like astronauts that are stranded on an alien planet and they're like trying to reunite. Seems like there's a romance element to it.
It was like The Martian or Gravity.
Yeah,
the movies.
Yeah, which is
the vibe I got from it.
That's interesting. You know, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of space. A lot of, you know what I mean? Like a lot of sci-fi, spacey stuff. That's like the new trend. And I feel like it started with Starfield and then everything has shifted to space. And like I'm ready for something grounded in reality again at some point.
Fair enough. How'd this next one hit you then? This was, I think this was maybe my number one game of the show, if not my number one surprise of the show, which was Clockwork Revolution. This is the new In Exile game. I thought this looks sick. I'm so interested in this one.
I did, and then the trailer just went on and on and on and on, and I was like, you're losing me with every minute that this goes by. And like it was like a 6-minute trailer. It was a long time I was watching this game.
It was a long time. I just like didn't. I was so. The more they were revealing, the more I was like, oh, okay. Because I thought the setting itself is interesting. Like I'm a fan of like steampunk.
I've never been a steampunky kind of guy, but it did remind me. I thought it was before they said it. I thought it was that game that you really like. By the guys that did Deathloop.
Oh, Dishonored?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like Dishonored.
Has a little bit of that vibe.
Similar that vibe to it. And then he started swearing and smashing people's heads off, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, they always joke that Dishonored is whale punk instead of steampunk because everything runs off whale oil.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was in on the vibe alone, but then when they showed the whole like mechanism of you creating your character and then that influencing,
very RPG.
Yeah, and then like the way that they showed the dialogue where it's like you're talking to the guy and the shopkeeper, and if you keep trying to talk to the shopkeeper, he kills him, and it's like that is all. Those are the things I play video games for, right? Is like role playing opportunities and the opportunity to like feel like the choices I make are influencing the world, and that like when I push, the world pushes back. You know, I love that. So this was one that like, yeah, I can't wait to see more of this for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that I'm glad it was for you. For me, I was just like, maybe. There was just some bits here that I don't know about. And like the Outer Worlds had already gripped me at the beginning when it was like, oh, it's coming in October. Wait till the end to see some more. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm ready to see some more of that game.
Yeah, I'm saving that one for the end because I got a lot to say about Outer Worlds too. That is looking fresh, for sure. So getting through a couple of the other smaller ones, I wanted to call out. We got to look at Double Fine's next game, which is called Keeper, where you play a like haunted lighthouse with a little bird friend. October, another October one. I think I'm just interested because it's Double Fine. You know, like it's like from what we saw, it's like okay, yeah, it looks like a, you know, odd
3D platformer,
like indie platformer, yeah, and it's like okay, like in a vacuum, I don't know that I would be as dialed in, but it's like it's Double Fine. You know, it's like they are so good at the kind of unassuming elevator pitch that then is a game that really resonates and sticks with you, you know?
This looked like it had significantly more production value than their last two games as well. Like they'd taken that Microsoft cash and invested it into some tech because that
really
thing looked
pretty.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Like absolutely stunning.
Yeah, really, really pretty. Yeah, I'm just excited to get another Double Fine game, you know? Let's see what they got for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of something I'm excited for more of, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's getting a new full story DLC called The Order of the Giants. It's coming out later this year. And
I thought for sure they weren't going to bother, and I thought they were going to do the little mini mid game like the Uncharted Lost Legacy.
yeah.
And it was going to be like, you get this, and it's like half as long. But they've done it as a DLC, which is cool. I never finished this game. Did you?
Oh yeah, I definitely did. I beat it quick
back.
too. I mean, it's like, I think I rolled it in like 12 hours or something.
Wow, I was in the Vatican for ages, finding absolutely everything. I was like in the boxing den, like, getting literally everything I could, like every scrap. And then I got to the Giza and I was like, oh, I'll just run around for a bit and I'll progress the story a bit quicker this time.
Yeah, I did a little of the side stuff, but I hit a point where I was kind of like, I don't feel like the game is rewarding me enough for doing the side stuff.
It doesn't, no. Like, I feel like it doesn't expect you to complete everything. It expects you to pick up enough of the side stuff to get the perks that you want.
Right, which is basically how I played it after a certain point where I was like, okay, like whenever I'm doing this extra stuff, I don't necessarily feel like there's a super great return on that time investment.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit a point where I was like, narratively too, it feels weird to just be like faffing around to like find another scroll that doesn't do anything when it's like, I gotta go fucking kill the Nazis. We gotta move on. Like we gotta go solve this problem. It's like the Nazis are about to get a ancient war weapon. I can't be fucking around in the Vatican basement. We'll come back later. So yeah, I'm super. I literally said when I rolled credits on this that they could put out one of these like every year and I would play it. If it was like in that shorter range of if it's like give me another fresh 5-6 hour indie story every other year or something.
Honestly, I kind of feel like that's what they should be doing to keep people hooked on Game Pass. Do one of those every.
Well, and you have to
quarter.
pay for it, right? Because it's the DLC. So it's like great, you'll finally get my dollar for this game that I fucking loved.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So yeah,
I didn't think about that.
I think this is super cool that it's this soon and we don't have to wait for like a proper sequel, and that they can just like tell another fresh story. Like I really like that about the way that they did the DLC for Spider-Man 1, where it's like, oh, like I never really felt like the game was like totally away, right? Like it's like I just keep getting to go and check in and like have it's like comics, right? Like it's like, oh, there's another issue. Let me jump in and do this story and then I'll jump in another couple months when there's another one. Like, yeah, I would play one of these once a year until they have a sequel for me, frankly.
Yeah, maybe it's time to revive the episodic game.
Yeah, I think there's a place for it. I really do. I think when you do it right, it's something. If it's
linked to an IP, like the Walking Dead games, I feel like it really can work. It's getting people hooked on something new, and then buying into the episodic stuff. It's really difficult.
It's just such a shame because I think like that's like a thing I would love to see them do more of with like a Game Pass where it's like, oh, well, you're already there and it's free and it's like it's a day one. It's like it's in front of you day one and jump in and get into the experience because like I think like you mentioned The Walking Dead. I think back on that and the way that they were able to like react to people's feelings about episodes and then have that influence the story over time and stuff like that it's really cool. Like that's a thing that like you get in television, right? Or like other like episodic media.
Like Breaking Bad's a great example, right? Like Jesse wasn't even meant to make it past the first season, but he was so loved as a character they just kept him there.
And then there was like the writer's strike and they had time to sit and ruminate on the idea and they were just like, we're gonna we change our minds, and like would be a totally different thing. Otherwise,
totally
right?
different.
Like, he's literally the fucking. He's arguably the main character, by the end of it, right? So it's like,
he got a movie,
right? Yeah, right. It's like, can you imagine? Can you imagine 4 fucking seasons of that show without him? No. So yeah, like I think that's something I would love to see them do more of like, getting the chance to have a story evolve over time and like see people pick up on certain things and then be like, oh, cool, like people are really responding to this character. Like that was the thing I remember in the second Life is Strange game. There's like a character who's like a super minor character in the first episode who's like a supporting character, and fans were like commenting about, oh, like, is she gonna come back? Like, like they never got to say goodbye, whatever. And they added a scene where your character like calls this other character for the last time and like gets closure, because it was a thing that people were responding to. And it's like, it's cool to have it let the story be like a living document a little bit, So yeah, I whatever the length is on this guy, I'm excited by just the prospect of it. Even if it's like a 3-4 hour thing, it's like, yeah, cool, I'm in. So then we got another look at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Those are like literally a month out at this point. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to be in it. A little more Doom guy. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Can't wait.
Do Underground. Do Underground next.
I know!
Please,
we're so
I'll beg
close!
you.
Please! Give me Underground, or just make Underground 3. That's the other way you could go.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It really would be cool. I was, I was kind of, Jeff must be like quite sad that this was his thing back in 2020, like his big announcement, and now like Microsoft owns Activision, they just get to shove it all in their showcase. And,
I know.
And it goes. It's like
it's like you gotta wonder if he's like struggling to get announcements now with all the consolidation. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, he has to be. Like, Microsoft is never at his stuff. Like PlayStation's been there every now and again, but the last big PlayStation announcement, like, did he announce the Naughty Dog game? I don't think he did. I think that was a PlayStation.
I think that was a State of Play.
I know he did the Last of Us multiplayer thing, and that just fell flat on its face.
Didn't exist.
Yeah,
it's tough. Yeah, where was this revealed? Let me see. Oh, it was the Game Awards, so it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought it was one of his events, but yeah.
So there you go. All right, jumping back into the list here, I had 2 other games I wanted to call out before we get into Outer Worlds. One of them, I'm really invested in the IP. I'm not sure that I'm invested in the game, which is Invincible Versus.
See, I thought you were going to be into this because it's Invincible.
I love Invincible. I really love Invincible, right? Like, Invincible is like my favorite comic series. It's been super cool to see the world at large become aware of it now that it has a cartoon, I thought it was very funny that they subverted the world premiere with the world fucking premiere thing. It was like, oh, okay. It's just like, this isn't what I want. Like, if they're going to make an Invincible game, I don't want it to be a fighting game. Like, I would rather it be...
you got like a Spider-Man.
Or even like a Telltale. Something like that,
okay,
where it was story-driven and, like, exploring an alternate universe or something like that. Because that's, like, what they're doing here, it seems like, is, like, the kind of initial scene that they had where they showed the 3-on-3 was all different stuff than happens in the book or the show. Like, it was very much like, this is an alternate universe interpretation of these events, which is something that they've explored in different ways in the comic and stuff in the past. So it's like, none of it is like anything that's turning me off as an Invincible fan. It's just like, oh, like, it's a 3v3 fighting game. Like, nobody I know is going to play this game with me, right? It's like, so I'm going to buy it and play through like the single player mode a couple times and then probably be done with it, rather than getting like a new story in the Invincible universe. Like, that's really what I was. It's cool.
No, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to see IP that I really love and that I feel like has been underappreciated for a very long time. It's like, it's great that people give a shit. It's great that people are talking about it. It's great that it has the cachet that they could announce a fighting game at the Xbox conference and that like people pop off. Like, that's all great. It's just not, I don't know. Again, I'm excited because it's Invincible, not because of what game it is, and that's kind of a bummer. But I'm happy to be proven wrong.
What did you think of the new game from the Spiritfarer team at Fate's End? Was that on your list?
I forgot to put that one on my list. I thought that looks really cool, actually. Again, it's like, I really like that it has those like moments of like narrative choice, you know, where like seemingly you can try to, you know, win people over or antagonize them and things like that. And it's like, okay, like that all seems interesting. The art style I thought was really good. The animation of like the hair flowing in combat and stuff, I was like, man, this is stylish.
Yeah, and you know, the Spirit Fair was fantastic. So I'm happy to try out something new that they've got. It seems like a very different game.
Yeah,
very similar in visual style, art style, but
I wouldn't have expected it to be like a 2D hack and slash kind of game.
No, definitely not. No, I was used to building my ship and you know looking after my vegetables and stuff,
helping spirit bears move on.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I do love that. I love to see a studio step outside of its comfort zone.
Yeah. And then obviously the other big game that I know you're really hyped for is Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
Oh,
obviously.
See, I thought you were going to guess my last one, which is Super Meat Boy 3D.
Yeah.
Bro, you kidding me? Super Meat Boy? I love Super Meat Boy. And the last one, like the sequel that they finally made was like an Infinite Runner, and I was like, oh, I don't want that. That's not what I asked for. So this, I'm like, cool. All right. 3D Meat Boy? Sure. I'm in. I can get down. The one thing I was like not super clear on is like, is this a new game or is this they took Meat Boy and put it in 3D?
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Either way, it's new. Like the puzzles and the way you get through that world
are totally going to be different. Yeah.
In 3D than in 2D.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, ultimately it doesn't matter, but it is kind of interesting because the original game has like thousands of levels, so it's like it's interesting to think of like what is the scope of this as a project or whatever. But yeah, I love Meat Boy. I'm super down for a 3D Meat Boy.
Did you stick around after the Outer Worlds 2 to see the Grounded 2 stuff at all?
Just a little bit.
I just want to highlight the fact that it's being set in the best year ever, 1992, and it's in a
classic year.
It's brilliant, yeah. Well, I never really like got deep into Grounded 2. I loved the concept of it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah,
like that was so cool.
I was feeling that with this one where I'm like, I always thought that game looked cool, but I never like got into it when it was in early access, and then by the time it was in 1.0, I was like, I kind of had forgotten about it. Yeah. So it's like I'd be down. Like if you wanted to like shake the tires on this one, like I'd give it a shot. It's a fun premise.
I'd give it a go. You know, I'm surprised they went down the we're going to do a sequel route rather than with Sea of Thieves. They've just been updating that constantly. We got yet another expansion in this presentation. Nice to see them bringing Eidos in to help out with it. Obviously, Obsidian's got a lot on their plate. Somehow they're
can we talk about how they're putting out
games.
3 fucking games this year?
Yeah, I forgot Pillars of Eternity as well, yeah.
Avowed, but yeah.
Oh, no, but they mentioned Pillars of Eternity in the showcase as well, right? I think they're doing a port of it to Xbox.
Is that it's already on Xbox, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Maybe you got your wires crossed because Avowed is in the Pillars of Eternity universe. So you might have just heard them say that because I don't remember them saying that, and I'm pretty sure Pillars is already on Xbox. But
yeah, you're probably right.
Either way, if that's also true, then it's 4 games this year, which is even crazier. But without that, they launched Avowed at the beginning of the year. Grounded's coming out in what is that in the summer?
Yeah, I think it's August.
August, right? And then Outer Worlds is in October, right?
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. That's crazy.
October 29th. So
it's the year of Obsidian. Like, oh my God.
Man. Oh. Let's talk about Outer Worlds because that game looks phenomenal.
It looks so
honestly,
good.
They've taken everything from the Outer Worlds, and I love the fact that they specifically called out that they nicked Fallout New Vegas's perk system. But like they've taken
the radio,
everything.
It's like they took like everything that was cool about Outer Worlds, turned it up to 12, and then stole a bunch of ideas from New Vegas, and it's like, great, we made the most Obsidian game possible. It's like, okay, awesome.
No.
Are you kidding me?
It's like the depth to roleplay now, like some of the stuff that you can do, like the perks where there's like one is, oh, you want to play the game with cataracts because you've been looking at the sun too much? Sure, go ahead. Do you want
The
one
weak knees one was so funny. It's like you move faster, but anytime you come out of a crouch, your fucking knees pop and everybody hears it. It's so funny.
There's just so much. There were so many cool things like that. Like the one where it's like you can sell stolen items for more money, but you might just randomly steal things.
Yeah, kleptomaniac. If you're just like hovering over another person's item, you just take it sometimes.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
The dumb perk is also so funny.
I love stuff like that. I really
too.
do. Like it. I'm glad that they've had the money and the development time this time around because it's clear, it's shown, and like this is everything. I feel like people wanted Starfield to be.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, like especially with like I forget his name, which is killing me, but the head of the studio, and he was saying right, and he was saying like this is the first time in 25 years I've been able to make a sequel to a fucking universe that I created. It's like, man, that's awful. I'm so glad that of all of the Microsoft acquisitions, I think this is proven to be the one that's been the best.
They actually release games, like
well, because that was always the thing. They were always a great studio and they were managed really well. It was just they were always having to find a publisher to make their weird fucking games, And it's like it's really cool that it's like, yeah, okay, great. Here's another blank check. Go make another relatively inexpensive title that makes a bunch of money and wins a bunch of awards. Great.
Man, yeah.
It's awesome. It's really great. It's like it makes you hope for what the future of Xbox could look like. That hopefully they can cultivate more relationships like this one, And
I think so. And like they've got to be like queuing up Obsidian to do a Fallout. I mean, maybe Obsidian don't want to. Maybe they're just like, no, we were burnt by Bethesda. We ain't interested, But like,
someone needs to be so fucking cool though if they made a New Vegas too.
Yeah, someone like honestly, like come on, someone needs to do one. And the show was out. It was such a huge hit, and really, the only game we've got is Fallout 76 that they've added fishing to. Like, cool.
Yeah,
like, that's a cool addition, I guess. But like, it's not a new Fallout game.
No, and I mean, we know that Elder Scrolls is the next thing that Bethesda's working on. So it's like, are we going to wait another 10 years for a Fallout game?
Yeah,
seems crazy.
Not when Obsidian can pump out 3 games in a year.
I hope they want to. I really do. I think that would be so cool. I would get it if they didn't, and they were like, we just want to work on our own IP. Like,
yeah, I can understand that. And like, they've explored so many ideas and had a look at things. Bringing in the backgrounds, the traits, and the perks, fleshing out this universe. So it's like you really are role playing. Like, it is a full role play game. Like, it's got that depth to it.
It was really cool when they were talking about like the way that the companions interact with the story and the factions and stuff. Like, that all really speaks to me.
That I was happy to hear about, because that was one of the things with Outer Worlds 1 where it was a little bit thin. Like, you had the companion quest, but once you did it, it was like
they didn't really have anything else to say to you like ever again.
So it was nice that they've kind of expanded that out.
And then they were like talking about like ways that you can like have that intersect with the story. Like, it was like one of the first obstacles you can like sell out one of your companions, and like that would be a way that you could get through the conflict. Or like the one of the producers that they had talking was talking about how the game is like tracking in the background like how you're treating your companions, and that there will be like kind of
so I can play as an asshole again, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and then everybody's going to turn on you at the end of the game.
It's a fun way to play. It really is.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, that's what you want out of a role-playing game, right? Like, it's like you want that whatever character you can imagine is an option, you know?
Yeah. No, and it seems really cool. And then, like, the moment-to-moment gameplay looks massively improved.
Oh, my God, the shooting looks so much better. Are you kidding me?
Better. And I'm glad that they've kept the ad system, the VAT system that they've cloned, and like have improved upon that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that like they've clearly added in and thought about.
The depth to the science weapons I thought was really interesting too. I used the science weapons a lot in the first game, and there were like some of them were really cool, but there were like the shrink ray, right, where it's like, oh, it only works for a few seconds. It's like that's fine or whatever, but now it's like it's permanent. You can squish people. It's like, okay, like that's like upping the ante, right? Like that's a, you know.
The rookie's reward gun sounded cool as well. That levels up
Yeah.
with you the more you use it throughout the game, and it shoots out confetti and stuff. Like that was really funny.
Yeah.
And like I didn't realize that throwables weren't even in the first game. Like I'd completely forgotten that and missed it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can now like distract enemies and bait them and then shoot them, and
And there was like the
there's
weird
the science
like
grenades that like levitate people. As
yeah,
well.
yeah, like very like BioShock powers,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and stuff like that. It's like, okay. There was one where it's like you threw it and it like exploded and it was like an ice bomb or something like that, and yeah, super cool. I definitely think I'm gonna play a mad scientist again. That was what I did in the first one.
I think I was like some kind of gunslinger cowboy dude.
Fun.
So I think I'll mix it up. I'll see where the world takes me. But this time around, like I've got to pick traits and backgrounds and things at the beginning. So
I love that. I love that it
that.
makes you role play at the front of the game.
Yeah.
You know, that was something I really liked about Oblivion. Right? Was like how much it makes you make those decisions up front.
Yeah,
and
like
then
you're a bard and you know this and yada yada yada. This is like it feels like the background stuff kind of was what Cyberpunk tried to do. They gave you 3 of them, and this one gives you like 10 that you can choose from.
Yeah.
And like and obviously Starfield tried to do stuff with it, but I don't think it was really that deep and didn't really influence it that much. This seems to really influence factions and how they see you, and like pretty much every aspect of the game changes from what you select at the beginning. So like the replayability, I'd imagine it's going to be far more significant than it was in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, seemingly, right? Because I mean,
because there's bound to be faction quests you won't be able to complete, depending
Right.
on what specific background you selected or what route you choose to go down in the game.
yeah, I would imagine you can like probably have at least like 6 meaningful outcomes, right? Between like siding with each one of the factions. There's probably one where you side with none of them, right? Like there's, you know,
Yeah, when everyone turns on you because you're an asshole.
yeah, right. Like, yeah. And I imagine you can also probably like side with them and then also kind of like, are you siding with this group and being a good guy? Are you siding with this group and being a bad guy, right? Because it's like they were talking about how, you know, there was like the one companion who's a part of the kind of like, you know, fashy like government power, and that you can like either encourage him to like keep being that way, or you can teach him what real justice means. And it's like, I'm gonna be interested to see if that's like a thing where it's like, can you like join a faction and then influence the people that lead it and stuff like that, or is it always like you know, if I'm a good guy, I can side with one of the good guy factions. If I'm a scumbag, I can go work with the, you know, the scumbag faction or whatever. Because it's like it's government, capitalistic like entities, and then religion, right? So it's like those are all pretty rife for oppression, you know? So it's like I feel like they all could be evil in their own way, right? So
I'd imagine they will be in the same way that they were in Fallout, right? You know, like if you look back at New Vegas and it's like, you know, do you want to side with the casinos? Do you want to side with the NCR? Do you want to side with, you know,
slavers?
Caesar? Yeah, it's like, it's crazy. There's so much stuff you can, and each one has its pros and cons, and you got to really think about it. Whereas in like Fallout 4, it's like, well, obviously the Railroad are the good guys. But I still sided with the Institute because I like science.
Because you're a heel.
Well, that also is your kid, so it's like, you know, your kid's running the Institute. I want to see what he's doing. You got to support your children, Pete.
Man, that last scene with him, if you side with the Railroad, is so good. Where he's just like, you've destroyed everything I've built. And it's like, whatever, fuck you, son. It's like, just leave me. It's like, you won't even kill me. It's like, yeah, whatever. Fuck you.
You know, yeah. The good thing, I really hope there's some more of those like goofy ass quests in Outer Worlds 2 as well that there were in the first one. Like I distinctly remember the one that was like a resort planet that you go to, and everyone's there like getting cosmetic surgery and stuff, and like that's the whole planet.
Yeah.
And like you have to go and like figure out like the best recipe for the coffee or something that someone wants and try and steal it. There's like so much weird shit.
I really loved the one where like you're on the there's like that spaceship that like it's like all the shops are there and like everybody lives on the station, but it's like falling apart, and then you go inside the depths of it and find this like whole community of like scavengers that are like living in the air vents and stuff, and so good.
Yeah,
I love that game, man. I really love that game.
Yeah, I'm excited. Not long, like what, 4 months? 4 months to go.
Yeah, roughly, which is so cool. Like, yeah, I'm. This is another one that like I've been so looking forward to, but every time they showed it, it's like, yeah, release date, right? Like I'm already excited. You don't need to sell me on it more. It's a sequel to a game that I thought was great, and that all I wanted was more and for it to be deeper, and that's all that they said they were doing with this one. Is like, oh, we had more time and money, so we made it bigger and better. It's like, great, I'm in.
Yeah.
Sell it to me now. Before we bounce, I mean, this is probably like a deeper conversation for another day, but did you see that they're charging $80 for that?
I did. And you know what? I think we've just got to accept that that's the new norm.
Yeah.
And also, it makes Game Pass look like a much better value.
They're making a great case for Game Pass this year, I'll tell you that much.
They really are. And I think Game Pass's price hike is around the corner at this rate. But I'm not surprised. I really am not surprised that the 80 is going to be the new norm. I think Microsoft said that they were looking at raising prices at some point anyway. Like it was to be expected. And with this game, I think in particular, it makes sense. It's a big title for them. It's got a lot of excitement around it. I'd have thought it would be one of the maybe bigger marquee franchises they did it with. I'd imagine Call of Duty Black Ops is going to be also $80.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah, or more. I mean, they make the money off the whales in that game anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think it probably is a discussion for another day. But I would say that it's the new norm, and it sucks, but you can trade games in, I guess, if you don't go digital, and Game Pass exists. Like there are ways to afford these things, but yeah, it is a shame to see the prices go high.
It doesn't feel good. That's for sure.
It kind of feels different when it's mid-generation. I don't think we've seen it like this before, where it's like mid-generation, the console prices are going way up, and the accessories are more expensive, and now the video games are actually way more expensive. So it's like it is difficult to see, because like Microsoft held off even going to $70 at the launch. It was PlayStation that pushed that, and then they followed suit pretty sharpish afterwards, and now they're the ones pushing 80.
Yeah, Sony's looking pretty good now, I guess.
Oh god, yeah. Well, I mean, they just raised the price of their consoles. I mean, it's like really.
So did Xbox.
Oh man, it's rough.
It's tough out here. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a broader conversation there that a lot of folks are either not thinking about or not willing to have, which is like, everything's getting more expensive, right? It's like video games aren't too expensive, your wages are too stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll say, going into this SGF, I didn't have much hype. I think a lot of the oxygen in the room felt kind of sucked out by the fact that Nintendo Switch 2's launch was the same week, and it felt like that was where all the excitement.
What a fucking week for video games.
What a week. Yeah. But I was going to say, I mean, now that it's done, I walked away with a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. I mean, obviously SGF itself was, I think, underwhelming, but I think both PlayStation and Xbox, yeah, they came swinging, and they had a lot of stuff I was excited about. And I'm obviously excited to talk more about the Xbox Ally with you on Steam Deck podcast this week. I have a lot to say about that one as well. But yeah, I mean, new hardware from Xbox, a lot of really exciting games from them. I think the best PlayStation presentation in a couple years.
And Jeff's thing.
Yeah, which, I mean, I was not a good show, but a few games that I was really excited about got showed there. So I'll give him that at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, Resident Evil saved the day,
Sure.
So that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's pronounced Mina the Hollower, but yeah.
Oh god, yeah. forgot it was called that. It must be what it's called in Japan. I
Yeah,
thought it was
right.
Biohazard, but yeah. Mina the Hollower does sound right, yeah.
Mina the Hollower, and one of the letters is a 9. I don't know. All right, folks. Well, if you want to let us know what you thought about SGF 2025, what your announcements of the show were, or if there were any of the events that we didn't talk about today that you thought were especially special or had some games that you were really excited about, I would love to hear about them in the comments down below or by writing into us at flipscreen.games. That's our website where you can find links to all the places we are all over the web, to our sister shows, the Nintendo Noise podcast and the Steam Deck podcast, where you can hear us talk all about the Xbox Ally this week. Yeah, write in, get involved, join the Discord, however you choose to join the community or get involved in the show. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us, and we will see you on the next episode of the FlipScreen Games podcast. For the crew, I've been Pete, he's been Steve. We'll see you next time, babies. Keep on gaming.